Russian River watershed encompasses 1,500 square miles of forest, agricultural lands, and urban areas within Sonoma and Mendocino counties. The main stream of the Russian River is about 110 miles long, and it flows from its headwaters near Redwood and Potter valleys into the Pacific Ocean near the town of Jenner on the Sonoma coast, 20 miles west of Santa Rosa. The Russian River is a vital watershed in this area. A watershed is an area of land that catches rain and snow and drains or seeps into a marsh, stream, river, lake, or ocean. Watersheds don't only supply water for animals, but they also provide us with a lot of water for wells and treatment centers. Watersheds provide water, space, and shelter for many different plants and animals. The habitat created by the watershed environment is critical to the survival of many species. Farmers use water from watersheds to irrigate crops for food and provide water for livestock. Watersheds provide the lakes, streams, and rivers we use for fun activities like fishing, boating, swimming, and going to the beach. Lastly, watersheds provide us with beautiful landscapes. Exposing and enjoying this environmental beauty is an important part to getting people involved and caring about preserving their own watersheds. And why should we care about the Russian River watershed? First off, the Sonoma County Water Agency draws drinking water from the Russian River for sale to over 540,000 residents of Sonoma County, Mendocino County, and northern Marin County. The Russian River is a vital resource in Northern California, providing water for residential and agricultural use. Not only this, but it is also a popular summer vacation destination, has multiple recreation opportunities, provides a critical habitat for 3 endangered salmon species, and a habitat for a large quantity of other aquatic species. The Russian River is one of many rivers that salmon call home. This remarkable animal goes through a very unique lifestyle. After salmon eggs hatch, the fry spend the beginning of their lives living in the stream or river that they were born in. Once old enough, they take the journey out to the ocean to grow bigger until finally they end their lives coming back to the exact spot they were born to lay their own eggs. This life cycle is obviously not possible without a healthy river and watershed. As for the issues that the Russian River watershed faces, the effects of agriculture are great. The many organisms and industries affected by the agriculture issues with the Russian River include animals and plants, since their population could dwindle if they have less water than they need, humans, who tend to use a lot of water with their various activities, wineries, because their vineyards don't get enough water. They would have less wine to sell, thus causing profits to shrink, and to fishing industry, because the fish population is dwindling due to water shortage, so they have less fish to sell, thus less profits, just like the wineries. The agricultural issues affecting the Russian River, similar to the awareness of what the definition of a watershed is a subject that does not yet have full clarity. When people were polled on whether they thought runoff posed hazard to the environment, most said yes, but there were some who still said no, as seen in this graph. When asked if people fertilized their yards, half of the people said yes, and half said they didn't. Water gets put back into the river by precipitation, like snow melting, rain, fog, water runoff, and so on. Vineyards, for instance, use water, and the water, which can be polluted, comes back to the Russian River through runoff. It can also come back through storm drains, sewers, and flooding, such as what happened during the 2005-2006 Sonoma County New Year's flooding. During these floods, there was a lot of water that washed into the storm drains and sewers, thus going back to the Russian River. This caused the river to overflow to 30 feet up from its average stage of 29 feet. This brings up the question of what happens when water goes back into the river after it comes from agriculture. In most cases, it causes higher levels of chemicals in the river. Polluted water comes from the creeks that flow into the river. In 9 creeks that flow into the Russian River, like Laguna de Santa Rosa and Mark West Creek, there are over 1 milligram per liter of nitrate and nitrogen, and there was over 0.1 milligrams per liter of phosphorus in 8 creeks, but that also included the Laguna de Santa Rosa and Mark West Creek. These chemicals caused the Russian River to become contaminated. The contaminated water also contributed to the Russian River's placement on the EPA's 303D list, where the list says the river is impaired for its sedimentation and its increased flood rate and depth of flooding. due to its sediment, among other things. In today's world, vineyards by the Russian River are still using pesticides, like insecticides and herbicides, that end up going back into the Russian River and polluting it. The vineyards of Sonoma County depend on the Russian River for lots of their water supply and the climate of Sonoma County. During one part of the year it is very rainy and cold, and during one part it is very hot and warm, making it the perfect time to grow grapes and make wine. When it is warm, the vineyards can use the water from the Russian River to help them grow. When it is cold, the rain hits the vineyards and pesticides are taken into the river as runoff, thus polluting the river. Another issue regarding agriculture is the one of environmental versus economical health. Because one of the main resources of the Russian River area is wine and grape industry, concerns of runoff and pollution caused by pesticides that are used to grow grapes clash with the convenience and even necessity of these chemicals to successfully maintain the economical health and growth of the industry. Issues like these create more conflict and make it more difficult to take steps to solving these kinds of environmental problems. The geography of the Russian River affects culture here because the Russian River is nearby many vineyards which use the water from the Russian River. Thus, it affects the culture of the Sonoma County, which is centered mostly around vineyards and wineries. One more issue the Russian River watershed faces regarding agriculture is one of space. Vineyards are growing bigger in Sonoma County. This is causing wildlife to be destroyed and cleared to make room for the growing fields. All of the stress on the environment is hurting the different species of plants and animals that call the Russian River watershed home. This map shows how the land around the Russian River was used. As you can see, there were many orchards and very few vineyards, but gravel mining was very minimal. However, in this map you can see that there are many more vineyards than those in the 1942, and gravel mining is occurring in some parts of the river. Although this may create a somewhat negative outlook on the problems the Russian River faces, people are helping, such as the Russian River Watershed Adaptive Management Plan, which is a plan being put in place which intends to promote ecological health and sustainability within the Russian River watershed. So what else needs to be done? Awareness needs to be raised concerning the harm to the environment that is caused by chemical pesticides used in vineyards. Then, informed decisions about restoration plans need to be made. We need to stop the vineyards from expanding into the Russian River ecosystem, which is currently being destroyed and damaged by the vineyards and other agricultural creations already invading the ecosystem. We need to focus as much on monitoring the success of current plans, with putting more plans in place and spending more on keeping the current plans solid, when they might not even be working to the best of their ability. Other small things you can do is make sure you use your water wisely, for chances are some is coming from our watershed. Also, keeping the watershed clean and pollution-free by not using pesticides on your yard and growing any crops organically. The winery should be encouraged to grow grapes organically as well, for vineyards are the greatest cause of agricultural pollution. The Russian River watershed is a vital part of Sonoma County area, providing numerous resources for thousands of people. Conserving and taking care of this environment that is so many species call home and that provides us with so much is not only important but necessary. The Russian River has been good to us people living in this area, and it is our duty to do the same for it. Take care of your watershed, for it is essential and it should be something that can be enjoyed for generations to come.